At the end of the day, when you turn off the light, every hotel room is the same. What people nowadays, a new generation of travelers looking is not just sleep, right? It's not just check in, check out.
We're looking for connection.
Ultimately, for me, yes, it's about that connection, that memory, that experience. We want people to come together and enjoy life. It's as simple as that. And that's what drives us.
Philipp, so good to have you back on the podcast. It's been a while, I think almost 3 years. I thought it was 2 years, but I think it's almost 3 years since we had you on. Last time, really enjoyed our conversation. I think a lot of other people did as well. You were, of course, with Mandarin Oriental back then. You're now Chief Operating Officer at Sunset Hospitality. What's changed, right? It's been a while. You know, how excited are you to be on this new journey? Obviously, you had a fantastic time with Mandarin Oriental, but it's a new phase, new chapter of your career. How are you feeling?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me back. I didn't realize it was 3 years.
I know.
My God, time flies. And certainly a lot of things have changed over the last 3 years. So after my 21-year journey with Mandarin Oriental, who taught me a lot, I'm now with Sunset Hospitality Group and have the opportunity, together with the team, to set up Met as our global hotel brand as part of the bigger ecosystem within Sunset Hospitality Group, who is a 360 lifestyle hospitality company.
And thank you, by the way, for your hospitality and having me at Met Hotel in Singapore. It's a beautiful property. What for you has been the most interesting part of taking on this new role? Obviously, you're seeing different sides of the same coin, I think, when it comes to luxury hospitality. How do you feel like conceptions of luxury hospitality are changing and shifting from perhaps previous generations to this generation? What's the new consumer? What's the new hotel guest looking for that they weren't previously?
There's multiple aspects what excites me about this role, correct? So first of all, establishing a brand on a global version and be part of this development in the rollout, that's very exciting. With all the basics which come with it, correct? And if I look by today, we have 12 hotels signed and in operation, and the goal is to reach about 30 to 40 hotels over the next 3 to 5 years. So very ambitious pipeline, and that aspect alone is very interesting to establish that.
Yeah.
In general, the shift we see in traditional luxury hospitality, I think, is beyond Sunset or the Met Hotel brand per se, correct? I think in general, if you look at the next generation of travelers, be that Gen Z or X, I think people value a lot more the integration of the local community, correct? I think the traditional big marble lobbies and chandeliers are, with all due respect, probably something a little bit off the par. And I think the traveler is looking for really experiential stays, getting to know where you are, getting to know the community, getting in the social wellness aspect a lot more, correct? And in the entertainment perspective, as well as from a culinary and dining perspective, to again reflect where you are. And interestingly enough, if you look back at Sunset Hospitality Group, where it started really from a food and beverage company, correct? There's a lot of these aspects which we as a group can bring to a hotel.
Yeah.
If I look back in my Mandarin days, for example, Sunset was somebody I was looking for to energize my F&B offering, my swimming pool offering, speech clubs around the world. Then I think in general, this is now something what all comes under one umbrella, so to say, within Sunset, and what we can bring to projects, and a niche where we see this shift where we can operate in very successfully.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because Sunset Hospitality obviously started out more on the F&B side, nightclubs, beach clubs, restaurant experiences, and now is really aggressively pushing into the hotel space. So whereas before you would have your meal, you'd have dinner in one place, then you'd go into a nightclub in another place, and then go back to a hotel, what Met and Sunset are trying to do is keep it all within the same ecosystem, all under the same umbrella, right? You should never have to leave the ecosystem. You can have a good time within there, and then you've got your longevity suites, you've got your paddle courts, everything is there, right? So what has Sunset seen, what has Met seen to be so bullish and so aggressive in rolling out these new hotels, having started in F&B?
I think it's this 360 approach to hospitality, in particular to lifestyle hospitality.
Because I will say, the only thing I'll preface it, because it's such a tough industry. F&B and hospitality is tough.
Very
so to see a company that's so bullish and so optimistic is energizing. So what's behind it?
Yeah, and most hotel companies, for sure, correct, try to outsource their F&B to freestanding operators, to celebrity chefs, correct, to just capture more of this auteur essence per se, rather than doing
Yeah.
it. I came up through F&B. I like F&B, but I'm I always say I'm hotelier F&B, correct? I'm very driven how food and beverage looks in a hotel. Be that with certain standards, very focused on service, correct?
Yeah.
Things like that, whereby if you go to a freestanding restaurant, it's very different, correct, in a way. And I think that because we operate in these divisions, like we have hotels and resorts, we have dining, we have day life, we have nightlife, we have gaming, we have membership clubs. And each of these divisions are run by true experts or true passionate professionals in their own division and field. That beauty of being able that if I take a hotel and I can tap into the dining folks and I can tap into the day life folks and I can tap into the membership folks, correct? Or the wellness folks per se, allows me to capture that core of how they would run, for example, a restaurant in a very more restaurateur style with all its quirkiness, freakness, coolness, less hotelish probably at sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big advantage to have this all under one roof. And we see this when we work with private investors, funds, or per se for hotel projects. They truly appreciate this too, to have this 360 approach within one organization.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're most excited about in terms of geography, right? Where are the areas, countries you're pushing into as a group where you see there's real potential for growth, right? And where you still think there's appetite for it?
Big question. I think that's really globally correct. Let me break it down maybe a little bit. I think there is still, Europe has a lot of opportunity for that, correct? Europe will always be Europe. And I think in particular when we look, the DNA or Met was born out of the Mediterranean lifestyle, correct? Which goes a lot back to the shift we probably see in luxury hospitality, correct? And that is people coming together, enjoying a good time and enjoying life over good food.
And slowing down.
Socially together, slowing down, having a good time, multi-generational family, friends. This has always driven the Mediterranean climate, while many rush in the world to be there and have that feeling. So there we continue to develop that, be that in Barcelona, in Marbella. We're going to open now Milan in June. Then we open Sitges, Ibiza is following, Alicante is following. I think Switzerland, Madrid. There's still various regions, Italy as a whole, where we will continue to push out the Met brand.
Yeah.
Then when we look at the United States, for example, in order to be a true global player, I think you have to be definitely in the US.
Sure.
We already operate there in the F&B field, but I think from a hotels and resorts perspective, in particular, Miami, correct? Parts of Florida. If you then go beyond to Mexico or the Caribbean, correct? There's a lot of opportunity for the DNA we bring to the table. Then we come to Asia, because in Asia, if you think about it, this concept in many parts of Asia is still relatively new, correct?
Yeah.
And there is a true adoption to that. We see when we opened our first hotel, for example, in Singapore, that the Chinese consumer reacted to it far beyond more than we had ever expected.
Yeah.
To the brand, to the lifestyle the brand brings, this aspect of experiences, dining, social wellness, entertainment, while doing all that resonates extremely well with them. Within Asia, Singapore, we're going to have potentially about 3 hotels, 2 already signed, I think 1 more in the making. Thailand will have 3 or 4 hotels. We just signed and announced Vietnam, Da Nang 2 weeks ago. So that will come. Japan, very on the forefront for us because, again, if you think about the very traditional Japanese hospitality in a way, they are craving for lifestyle hospitality, correct? Speak to partners and developers there, we see this really happening.
Yeah.
The Maldives, of course, correct? But then also places like Korea, for sure, is in the making, and of course Indonesia. So endless opportunities. And last but not least, I left, of course, the Middle East because everybody always asks, but you guys are from Dubai, why are you not in Dubai? And we will be in Dubai, but it has to be the right place and the right project. So we've been very careful for because it is the hometown of Sunset.
And if you're going to do it, you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think I love, in a time when so many companies and organizations are paring back and scaling back, you guys are just going out there and I see the announcements every week almost. We've planted a new flag in the sand somewhere. What's driving that ambition? What makes you at Met and Sunset Hospitality so certain that in your DNA, hey, the market's craving this, people are craving this, and they will see us as sufficiently different to traditional kind of luxury hotels?
Yeah, it's really a two-way street, correct?
Yeah.
We, of course, the whole team is out there and looking for new opportunities, while at the same time, correct, the projects and the sites we have and the BUs we have to make them better and better and better. And very often we have investors coming to us, correct, and saying, can you please look into restaurants, be that gaming, be that hotels and resorts. So it's the whole group is pushing that.
Yeah.
And the whole group is moving forward in rolling out this sunset lifestyle globally. And that resonates very well. And it's very fast paced, but it's truly enjoyable.
Yeah.
If you've been enjoying the podcast and you're finding my channel valuable, can I please ask you a very quick favor? Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on audio, please just take 2 seconds to hit subscribe. When you do that, you help me grow the show, you keep the wheels turning, and enable me to get bigger and better guests. Thank you.
If anyone can handle it, I know you can. But it sounds like you must have a beautiful mind, whiteboard in your office and all the pins all over the world. And it's a lot to keep track of as a COO, right? All at the same time.
Yeah.
But the underlying, I think, driver of why people are searching for something like that Met lifestyle brand is because I think fundamentally we are looking for different things. We have different values than perhaps when you and I were in our 20s. It was very nightlife oriented. There was a lot of retox. There wasn't much detox. You put it better than I do. What's the new consumer looking for when it comes to wellness? And
It's a good point, and I think it's difficult to just touch it by one age group, no? As you said, when you and I in our 20s, we were maybe more focused on nightlife per se. But I think is not only our generation to say, and you're certainly a bit younger than I am. I think it's in general this shift what has gone to enjoying life while also recognizing that you need to live a healthy and a balanced life, correct? And the whole aspect of longevity, well-being, as you taste, rather than just having detox, you also focus a lot on detox. And that is really having a good time, enjoying a good time together, but also making sure you look after your well-being and your wellness. And while we're maybe, out in a beach club and enjoy a beautiful day, we are also the next day in the gym or running or having a drip or being in a cryo or in an ice bath to just make sure we balance our lives, correct? I think the shift really started during COVID, probably.
Yeah.
One could argue maybe many generations before, as people always knew that it's all about, and again, it goes back to the Mediterranean in particular, that's all about what you eat, correct?
Sure.
Who you surround yourself with, how you sleep, and that you do everything in balance, so to say, will make sure you live a good and happy life. But I think COVID reminded us as humans that is critical, correct?
Yeah.
And that is spending social time together, correct? That looking what you put in your body, be that alcohol, be that food, be that smoking or whatever, is critical. Making sure one stays balanced to live a long and healthy life. And for me, this in general, in luxury lifestyle hospitality, the shift is real. Correct. Yeah. This shift is there, and again, I don't think it's an age group. Sometimes people say to me, "My God, in Med, when I look at the photos and images, only 30 and 40 good-looking people can be there." And I said, "No, absolutely not. We see customers from all age groups actually in our hotels, correct? Who truly enjoy this coming together." And this, what is part of our mission, right, is to truly to come together and celebrate life.
Yeah.
And that's what we encompass in our venues. Be that F&B, be that gaming, be that hotels and resorts. We want people to come together and enjoy life. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And that's what drives us, and not only for our customers, I think also within our organization. When you see the working style we have, it's a very flat organization per se. And we enjoy what we are doing, and we enjoy life. And that's because it comes from within, I think translate very well through the different venues we have.
Do you feel like the kind of DNA and the personality of the founders and the senior leadership team is infused throughout the brand and throughout the organization?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think especially the two founders carry this on a daily basis per se, and carry that in the different concepts they have created, correct? Or the team has created around them. This is very there, be that if you go and enjoy a sushi samba, or if you're in Baoli, or in a Nora, or in a Foley, and be that in the individual freestanding venues or those venues which are in a Met hotel, you can feel that spirit over and over again. Yeah. And I think that's a little bit part of the success as well, that this shift is real.
Yeah, I think, and there is this historic legacy luxury mentality where it's more stiff, it's more formal. And I think what Met and Sunset have done so well is to realize that luxury should be enjoyable, it should be fun, it should be vibrant, it should be alive. And it's not, as you say, about the marble chandeliers and the marble hallways so much anymore. And what I've found very enjoyable is the wrong word. What I've found positively surprising when I've been in the properties is the social aspect, right? Of how willing not only the staff are to engage me in conversation, but also the guests really mingle with one another in a very natural way. Is that something you've deliberately engineered in the spaces? Because it doesn't necessarily happen in other locations and other properties.
Yeah, let me unfold your question a little bit. I think in general we have a shift to a more casual lifestyle. And I think, again, be that COVID or be that our generation moving this forward, the formality in general in life is unfolding. That's good and bad, I have to say too, correct? I think
walk me through both, good and bad.
One should not throw away all traditions.
Sure.
I think we as humans have many traditions and some formalities which are key, be that respect to elderly, how we engage with each other in general. I think there is certain aspects we need to be very careful to not become too casual. But that's far beyond hospitality and what you and I engage.
Good manners never go out of style.
I think it's good. We have to remember that. And yet, we have become more casual. Marketing team often gets very mad when I say it, and I say it now. Why? Because I think it's a good example. For me, we're sometimes a little bit like Lululemon. I lived in the US when Lululemon unfolded, correct?
Yeah.
And you and I have been in meetings where everybody would be in a tie and a proper suit and whatever. And eventually Lululemon showed up, and it was okay to be in easier wear, gym wear, whatever, to enjoy life and to come to meetings eventually and so on. And I think that's what we see a little bit in luxury lifestyle hospitality, correct? Very traditional approach was part of luxury and was okay, had its time, correct? It was okay that hotels had dress codes in the lobby. I remember I've worked in establishments where we had signs that after 5 o'clock you were not allowed in trousers or open shoes, correct? And actually the guests asked for that too. And in my very early days, I was part of teams where we enforced these kind of things. Can you imagine that today? You would do that today?
It's almost impossible to enforce.
Impossible, right? You would have guests who would walk out and leave. So I think that shift came naturally in a way. So why is this important for us? I think in Met and in Sunset in general, we play to that, correct? This is our DNA. We play to this lifestyle. You said you come to a lobby and you can feel this. And yes, we do that very deliberate, correct? Again, for me, goes back to in this more traditional or formal luxury, you would maybe not even allow an outside guest into the hotel lobby. Or you would have a sign for hotel residents
Make them
only,
deliberately
right?
feel unwelcome.
Or the typical look from top to bottom, you don't
staying
belong
with
here,
us, sir?
correct? Or that question.
Yeah, sure.
But that's gone almost. That has shifted, correct? Our customers or the new generation of luxury travelers and high net worth individuals, medium, whatever you want to have it. Again, people want to travel to meet the local community. So we are actually fostering in all hotels, be that in the swimming pool, of course in our F&B venues, be that in our gym, that we bring in the local community. Extremely active, correct? Because I think there's nothing more boring than sitting in a hotel lounge or lobby with other hotel guests, correct? You want to be there and feel the local vibe.
For sure.
You want to be there and see the local crowd. You want to be there and see the cool people of whatever city you are in, correct? Be that New York, London, Paris, Singapore, Hong Kong. And that's part of what we very deliberately curate. And that's, I think, a big aspect, and I'm glad you feel this.
Yeah, I noticed it. I noticed it last time I stayed. Yeah.
And same as when what I said earlier, correct? Food and beverage for us is not just a restaurant. It's celebrations of restaurants. It's entertainment in these restaurants.
Yeah.
Be that a beach club or a pool club within a hotel setting. All of the sudden, I have a vibe, correct? I have something going on. I have something where I attract both hotel guests and the local community to come. Same with when I have certain entertainment aspects in restaurant concept, correct?
Yeah.
It's not just your stale hotel kind of eatery. And I think that's where we are very unique. And then that goes beyond just those outlets. It's also how we train the staff, correct? We always say, look, be who you are. Be a bit more casual. You don't have your traditional
white glove
kind of service. Again, that had its time, and that's absolutely right. And I don't think we should deliberate that. Well, for example, continue with the same standards. You should get your luggage quickly. Your phone should be answered quickly. Your linen would feel the way. but in a relaxed setting.
I agree. Yeah. Just because you've lost the white glove doesn't mean you lose attention to detail. Because
Exactly.
you and I, we have kind of the same habits when we sit at dinner and breakfast service. You're always looking, again, not to criticize, but how we can help the staff become better and just be more attentive to and anticipate. It's about anticipating the customer needs and the guest needs. Yeah.
And what I like about this too, what does that do to staff? I very often think about and speak with the team. I think it allows them also to be them.
Yes.
Their personality,
Yeah.
correct? Like when I started, we had scripts, what we had to say, Mr. Mrs. Smith, correct? From beginning to end. And I learned to use those phrases, to use those lines. Again, what you said, we're not trying to eliminate the service delivery per se, correct? And the ease of it, but to make it in a more authentic and personal style. And I think the team enjoys this too, to be really able to be them,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
They still bring you your coffee within minutes, correct?
Yeah.
Or they still clean your room properly and fully, but they do it with their own style and their own personality.
Yeah,
And
let's have a conversation.
I truly enjoy
Yeah.
that shift because
Yeah.
a lot of guests in general too truly enjoy to interact with team members rather than
Yeah.
just being servants, so to say. correct?
Exactly.
Every single day, I watch smart and otherwise successful people struggle to communicate their value. They have the expertise, but they're not brilliant speakers. And they lack the technique, they lack the gravitas to deliver their ideas with impact. They don't know how to speak in a way that makes people listen. The good news is that the principles and techniques of effective public speaking can be taught, they can be learned. And the truth is most working professionals, many senior executives, are probably operating at 7 out of 10 in terms of their communication potential. You are talented, you are hardworking, you're good at what you do. But if you're honest, you know deep down that you're leaving money and opportunities on the table every time you're asked to present to an audience. Click the link or visit my website and submit an inquiry. Let's unlock the confident communicator you were always meant to be.
Yeah, and the dynamic, I think, is so much better because a lot of times I will, I'm sure you're the same, but I will return to a property because of the I've developed with the bartender or the restaurant manager or the receptionist. And those are the things that you remember. It's what makes the stay quite special, right? It's not just the guest-to-guest interaction, it's also
I think
staff.
people have always bought from people,
And
right?
they always will.
And they
Always
always
will.
will. And what
Yeah.
you said, the power of relationship between colleagues and guests, correct?
Yeah.
Very often reaches far beyond brand loyalty, correct? And I
Yeah,
think,
for
again,
sure.
this is where we can orchestra
Yeah.
this interception. And
Yeah.
if we look at all kind of hotel brands, more traditional ones, more modern ones, larger, smaller, I think we see this shift with everybody, correct? Everybody is moving into this little direction of having a bit more relaxed delivery, atmosphere,
Just the human to human connection,
experience, correct?
right? Come on. Yeah.
And that's key. And,
Yeah.
and some groups found this, as they shall remain unnamed, whole different brands around that to diversify their offerings.
Yeah.
Others are shifting their focus a little bit into that
Yeah.
direction. So I think it's a shift which is in general in hospitality. It will not go away.
No.
And I'm very excited about it, I have to say.
Yeah. So am I. I think that there's a couple of directions I want to take. But first of all, what you triggered in me, I was wondering, when you use that word curation, we've intentionally curated and designed the space, I'm sure you have, to, I guess, encourage a certain type of interaction. But also the guests, people like myself, were actually self-selecting and opting into a certain way of being. So bear with me. So if I was a business traveler, quote unquote, and I just wanted to have a functional experience, I would not stay at Met. By choosing somewhere like Met Hotel, I'm deliberately opening myself up to the possibility of meeting new people, of having interesting conversations over breakfast with people I'd never met before, of playing paddle with a complete stranger, of meeting someone at the longevity suite, people with shared values, shared interests, shared connections. So yes, you're curating on one side, but also the guests are almost self-selecting and saying, I am sociable, I'm open to meeting new people, and we all come together, which is quite nice. I really like that. I'm not just a body on a bed and I have my breakfast and out I go. There's so
Good.
much more
I like
to it.
you like that. And that's really the idea, correct?
that's the
And
idea,
example
right?
you speak about here for the Singapore property, correct? Where you
Yeah.
have this opportunity to live in a park, correct?
Went for a walk in the park this morning and
Play paddle.
Yeah, it's great.
Be, while you're there, part of the Madison House membership club, correct?
Yeah.
Make use of the longevity clinic. be in this center of gathering, of social gathering, so to say, correct, while you still work.
Yeah.
I think that summarized it very well, what we were describing earlier, and this shift of, it's not just a hotel room where you sleep, correct? And I don't think that's the traveler is looking for. And of course, if we put resorts aside, it's very different. But in our urban locations, we try.
Yeah.
And I think we're on the right track to really emphasize this and to roll out this and to give guests the opportunities for it. You are almost more part of a club, so to say, correct, than you are in a traditional hotel. And if I'm a corporate road warrior and I need to be on the road every week, correct? And I am to keep my fitness goals up, to play paddle, correct? To have a good time on the bar, to enjoy an amazing meal in a restaurant, which is also frequented by my local friends I'm making, correct? You tap all of this. And that's definitely what we are curating in our hotels. And in a little bit, it has a little bit of this resort aspect too, correct? If you think about it, traditionally, that's why people went to resorts, necessarily to, again, have a good time and celebrate life a little bit and be together and create memories. And resorts have always been more about just transactional hotel nights. And again, that shift, and we're trying to bring this to urban hotels, works
That's it. Can you bring it to the cities?
Correct? And I think what you said, Met Singapore is a great example of that. Met Barcelona is very similar to that, correct?
Yeah.
Milan, which will also have a Medicine House membership club, correct, will be very similar to that. So the city locations will go into this direction more and more.
Yeah. And to just go back to the people as well, the importance of people. Again, even with AI, everyone's rushing headlong into the arms and the embrace of AI and technology. I still, like you said, people will always buy people. And would I have stayed at Met Hotel if I didn't know you, if I didn't know Marcel? And I didn't even realize when I walked into the hotel for the first time, who's there greeting me at the bar? Thomas, who I knew from the Four Seasons and Spargo before. And I love him, and he's a great human being. He's just a nice guy. And it was such a beautiful moment to realize, oh, of course you guys are working together now. I had no idea he was there.
That's
right? So I
good to
think
hear.
you always follow
Great
people,
story,
right?
yeah.
You always
For
try
sure.
and you want to follow and support your friends all around the world. And I got to without even realizing it. So of course you guys would have hired him. He's a great guy. Why wouldn't you? So I really like that.
Yeah, it goes back to, at the end of the day, it's about people, correct?
Yeah.
And yes, AI is there. I think our customers in general, we all enjoy certain parts like a check-in or a checkout. Do I really need to do that on a desk and wait? And at the end of the day, it's about giving my credit card, signing a funny form, which was still required to do. But that's an annoying part almost.
Yeah.
I think both for the receptionist, when you've noticed that we in Met Hotels always sit people down, we get you a welcome drink. We'll make it a more already less transactional experience. Your journey should really start there. And I think their AI can help us, correct? Or in communication, you've, again, experiences, we do a lot of it via WhatsApp, correct? Like many others. And I think nowadays, sometimes it's a lot easier to communicate about WhatsApp what I want rather than needing to phone somebody or whatsoever. And I think their AI is very useful, correct? So for the very transactional service interaction, AI is there. But what you said too, at the end of the day, meet somebody who you know, or the first person in the morning, be that in the gym or on the paddle court, or the person who brings you your coffee, having a relationship with that human being and having that human interaction, I think will never, ever go away. And as long as I'm in hospitality, I will certainly not allow it. And this can't be replaced by AI or robots.
No.
And I think it's the choice too, correct? For me is, and we offer that, and I think it's very important, and I often talk with the staff about it. Some people want to arrive, go to their hotel room, change, go to a meeting or go to dinner or whatever, and they do not want to talk to anybody.
I agree.
That's
and
okay.
that has to be respected.
Correct?
Some
And
people want to be anonymous.
Certain times of the day, that's fine. And then there's other who want all the fanfare, red carpet, champagne, cold towels, correct? 2 porters on each side. And that's okay too. So I think here the goal is, again, to make sure we can deliver both and recognizing the individual's preference of what they want to have, correct? So that's key. The interaction, be that with the staff, be that with the local community, will never go away. The Singapore hotel or Milan will have the same. For example, I love that our Medicine House membership club is incorporated into the hotels, correct? And you as a guest are automatically a member. You have access to all member facilities while you stay at the hotel. Not only do you have a relationship with the staff in that hotel, here now you have the opportunity to build a relationship with the local community.
Exactly.
Correct? And the cool people from the local community. Those who hang out there in the gym, in the paddle courts, in the membership lounge, in the F&B offerings, in the swimming pools. Correct? So
it
here
should be
you
a
can now
reflection.
build relationships with the local community of the place you travel in. That, for me, again, is a model which is I feel very excited about, and which I feel is, again, the next level of hospitality, because, again, humans want to meet humans, correct?
Yeah.
And if I can meet humans in the destination where I are, be that for my social well-being, be that for fun, be that for my business relationships, that's the real opportunity. So I'm in particular excited about having Medicine House and Met together under one roof.
No, I'm excited to see that too. So it'll be Singapore first, then Milan.
Yes,
next. Okay.
And then further hotel projects which we roll out, we'll always have a look where can the Medicine House concept be part of the hotel.
A lot of members clubs, I think, around the world are starting, or not starting to, have maybe struggled in recent years to attract new members. Is that, you've looked into it better than I have, is that because they're too stuffy? Are they clinging on to old ways of doing things? What is it?
Good subject. And you can imagine before we founded Medicine House, we debated that long time. I think it's an evolution of what has happened to membership clubs, correct? If we look in the really old days, where maybe only men in certain clubs were allowed, or only women, and very traditional, and membership clubs have evolved, correct? And I think they have somehow evolved in a way too, what we see in hospitality, shifted more towards a lifestyle hospitality. And I cannot talk for other clubs, but I can certainly talk about how we see it. And for us, it's almost a combination of multiple clubs in once. For us, the membership component really focuses around social wellness. That is a very important aspect for us, right? And that means, again, that you have your gym facilities, that you have your cryo, ice bars, correct? Infrared therapy, all of this stuff where you maybe normally go to multiple different locations. I go to my gym,
Can I get
then
it?
I go to my ice bars club, then I go to my giving that all in one space. Then we layered on top of that co-working, social hours, getting together, be that breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, cigars, whatever you want. An aspect of paddle in some destinations here, because it's just the fastest growing sport in the moment. But it's, again, why is it blowing up? Because it's a very social sport. You and I spoke about it earlier on the way here, where we said, look, do we prefer tennis or paddle? Again, the beauty about paddle is it's social, correct? It's togetherness. It's combining well-being with business opportunity, friendship, and so on. Layering that into that. And then being part of a hotel setting where you as a member now also have access to rooms, to swimming pools, to restaurants, correct? Beyond your membership restaurants is a composition I feel, and we feel in Sunset Hospitality, extremely stronger, because people still enjoy coming together to places, and people and humans will always enjoy being members of something together, correct?
Yes.
And I think
which
in your
tribal
golf club,
animals.
in your country club, in your gym club, correct? And all that. And so Medicine House combining almost all of these 5 aspects into one, that's our secret sauce, so to say, to move forward in the membership field.
Yeah, no, I like that. For you, as if I can pivot a little bit to kind of your role as a COO, multiple tabs open in your mind at all times. What is giving you the energy to, we talked in the car on the way here, right? You've got your Asia shift until 2 p.m., then your Middle East shift 2 till 4, then your Europe shift 4 till 10, and then you're trying to avoid the US calls kind of 10 till midnight. What's powering you through and giving you this energy?
Good point, and I guess one has to be careful to make sure that energy is there. I think the simple answer is structure, schedule, and discipline. And I've learned stepping into this role to say no to certain things, correct? Be that meetings who shift all this, no, I need to be 3 hours later. While I cannot, of course, decline my boss, but I'll try to really stay in schedule.
Okay.
And that is what you said. For me, the mornings are kind of Asia. The early afternoons are Middle East. The afternoons, evening is Europe. And we don't have a hotel yet in the United States. If that's coming,
That'll come.
Be a longer thing, but that will come rather sooner than later, actually. But it's setting times apart. And when I not only say in terms of time zones, but I'm pretty strict in allocating an hour to something. And if that hour is up, it's up.
You're just time boxing it.
So I'm time boxing it,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
in my calendar, and I
Yeah.
give people 10 minutes out, and I say, look, you have another 10 minutes, or if we need to make a decision, then it needs to be made.
Let's make it now.
On. So it's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
It's a lot of sticking to it in terms of time and getting it done. And
Yeah.
I'm somebody who's also very keen on sleep and well-being and family time and friends, because that's a big part too. So I'll arrange time for that too. Sleep, for example, is for me something I do not discount or allow to be interrupted.
You're better than me at that, for sure.
Because I feel, it's funny, if you listen to the longevity gurus too, is we can all be very careful what we do with exercise and what we put in our body and whatever, but sleep is the number one success factor, so to say, correct? To stay energetic, to stay healthy. And I think what it is. And then it's spending time with my family, with my friends, working out in the morning. Yeah. I have a very strong morning routine. I wake up at 5. I do the first round of emails for an hour. I have a coffee. Then I go and work out and run.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's scheduled through. And maybe some people would say, oh my God, that's awful. If you're packed it through for 24 hours, what is happening when?
Yeah.
But that's how it helps me to really stay on top of things. And then, of course, travel comes on top of all of that, correct?
Yeah.
But it's very exciting. And I stay very energetic because it really excites me what we roll out.
Yeah, you probably heard me say it before. He who runs for fun never gets tired. And when you really genuinely love what you do, it gives you that energy to bounce out of bed at 5 a.m. and attack the day. If you weren't enjoying it, then this would be tough, right? It'd be very tough. And a lot of people, I think, the unfortunate reality is they're not in love with what they do. Not all of us are so lucky to be working in a role that fulfills us and gives us the energy that we would want. So it is a struggle to work those 12, 14, 16-hour days. Of course it is. But for you, it never feels, when I meet you, when I meet James, for example, your good friend James, it never ever seems like a drag to you. You're always so up. I love it.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that this comes up with it. But I think it's what you said is natural. I've always enjoyed hotels, and I think we spoke about it last time, in hospitality. And it has been a passion since I was young, and I'm with you. I'm very grateful of having found that and being able, you don't really go to work, correct? For me, hotels is a bit of a hobby.
Yeah.
and I can do my hobby every day. And at the same time, though, what you say, it's important. I'm very happy my wife is not from hotels or hospitality. And she often reminds me, enough now, the hotel will still be there.
It'll still be there.
And we don't need to look at another hotel while we are on our time off or whatever, or another restaurant or another concept. Yeah. It's this balance. But if you enjoy what you do, hopefully everybody can find that. I think that's the true motivator. And if you have to do what you don't enjoy, probably you should push for finding what you enjoy, I have to say. No, it's easier said than done.
I know. Yeah.
But I think you have a big influence over what you are doing in most cases, correct? Put it carefully this way. Not everybody has the chance to do it, but where you have that opportunity and where you have a real passion burning in you or driving, do that, correct?
Yeah.
And
the world is
that's
more
key.
Yeah, the world is more malleable than you think. And if you knock hard enough, sometimes the door will open for you. If you don't mind going there with me, you remember we met for coffee. What was it just before you joined Sunset Hospitality? You may remember at Great World here in Singapore, right? We had coffee together, and you weren't quite sure whether to go this way or to go that way. You obviously went with this role at Sunset Hospitality. That's 2 years ago, whatever it was now. Why didn't you turn left? Why did you come this way?
I remember that coffee.
You remember that coffee? Yeah.
And going back to actually a bit of social engagement, good to have people you can have coffee with and bounce ideas off, correct? And I think, again, that's key in life. Why I took that way, that's a good question. I have to almost go a little bit back in my mind. Yeah. I think it's what we spoke about earlier. I think it's this opportunity to create something. I've always been somebody who enjoyed creating. I've always been somebody who worked best in places where I was allowed to create, where I had the freedom to create, where I had the freedom and support to innovate, and to probably push the boundaries a bit. I think that has always been part of my personality and DNA. And when I first met Antonio and the team 2 years prior almost to that coffee, I remember actually my wife reminds me sometimes of this time that she said, you came home one day and you spoke about Sunset and Antonio. And you said, that's a very interesting company, what they are doing and the way they are progressing. And maybe I should be part of something one day. And I hadn't even remembered that.
And that's 2 years prior to our
That was
coffee.
even 2 years prior.
Yeah.
After I joined one day, she reminded me of that. And I
Yeah.
think this sits in with this. And the way Sunset has developed over the last 15 years, correct? If you think
Yeah.
going from 1 to over 150 venues in 28 countries.
It's so fast. It's so impressive.
It's a pretty impressive rollout, correct?
Yeah.
And if you look at the different concepts which are under that umbrella, correct?
Yeah.
From very small to very large, from all, very distinctive cuisines to beach clubs to big restaurant concept to hotels, is very unique in a way.
Yeah.
And I think it reflects this innovation, this ability to create, this highly entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah. And you need that
sits in
entrepreneurial
everybody's
buzz, I think.
DNA, kind of who
Yeah.
is within the executive committee of Sunset, and I can feel this. And this openness and willingness of the owners, the investor, to let that flourish, allow that, correct? For people to come to the table with concept says, go for it.
Yeah. Was there anything specific
That's
they said
something
to you?
what is very unique in
Yeah.
a way, and I see it. And I think it was paired with, again, when we had coffee together, this shift, what I saw already, and I think why I had already tapped into Sunset during my Mandarin days to take over certain aspects, correct? I said, this is, I think, where the future of hospitality is going.
Yes.
And yeah, those points made me ultimately take that direction with
take the
Sunset.
plunge.
And I think, it's great and will continue to be a great journey.
What was the right decision?
Whether it's the art of communication, mindset, motivation, or building high-performance teams, I would love to be the one to help you deliver training that your people can actually look forward to and they will remember for a very long time. Click the link below or visit my website, michaelxcampion.com, or visit quinlanassociates.com to find out more.
Right decision. But you can never be certain at the time. And again, I'm looking for the transferable lessons, because there'll be people out there watching and listening, and they're between, do I stick with this role? Do I go with the new one? I've got a couple of offers. I'm comfortable here. This could be uncomfortable, but I could grow. What should I do? And one thing you said to me, which I think is really key, it sounds a little bit spiritual and woo, but I believe it, is that you need to listen to your body after you've had a conversation with someone. Because there are certain people, when you speak to them and you walk away, you can feel it in your body. You're energized, you're uplifted, your tone is better, your chin is higher. You go home to your wife and you've got a pep in your step. And there are other people, and there are other roles that you talk to them or you think about them and your body shrinks. And you go inside yourself and you play it safe. And that's the smallest version of you. So you need to listen to your body when you have conversations with people, because certain people will make you come alive and certain organizations will make you come alive. Others will make you shrink. So I think it's really interesting that even your wife, Julia, could pick up on that.
Yeah, and I think it's the good old gut feel at the end of the day,
Call it
correct?
gut
And
feel.
I think
Yeah.
that is important. I think in many ways, yes, we have to take the information we have, the stuff we get into decisions, talk to people. I think it's an important
Of course.
aspect, get different viewpoints. But ultimately, you have to make a decision by yourself. And I think in a way, it has to feel good. And that's for me where the gut feel comes in. And you need to say, it feels good. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm going to follow. And that's what I'm going to pursue. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you listened. Was there anything that they said to you during that kind of interview process, if you go back, that made you think, this is the company I want to join? Or the vice versa? Was there any, if you can be open and honest on the camera, are there any doubts that you had that obviously you've since overcome? Because I think that's so helpful for people when they're looking at career decisions.
I think in general, it goes back to what had fascinated me was this entrepreneurial spirit, correct? Okay. And only entrepreneurs can do that in a way, correct? I think entrepreneurs can see things very differently than a non-entrepreneur. And I don't think everybody is born to be a full-time entrepreneur.
No.
And you have interacted with a lot of entrepreneurs in our lives. And I think there's just a group of people who, first of all, have a vision not everybody has, see certain things not everybody sees, and have the gut to go after that and do it, correct?
Sure.
And that takes a certain personality. And I certainly feel with our founders, Antonio and Nas, they have it or it wouldn't be where it is. And when I sat down with Antonio first and listened to him, I was always fascinated by that and the foresight and vision he really had to push this forward. And for me, it was ultimately to be part of something like that. And again, to have this allowance to have an entrepreneur spirit in rolling something out and creating something new. And this thing of creating something new and being part of a new creation, every team members and all the ups and downs this comes with. Again, it's not for everybody. Some people like it very stable and rather have 9 to 5
Horses
and everything.
for courses.
Right?
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed that. And I've always been willing to take some calculated risk for that. No matter was that with a Mandarin Oriental organization or here. And I think there were a lot of similarities when I first joined Mandarin Oriental. I think we had 5 hotels back then. So
you've just aged yourself.
And that was in 2001, or call it 8 or whatever. But it was also a group which was, even though it had been founded much, much earlier, but the global expansion had just started. So there are a lot of these similarities in there with tools to set up and to move on. And I think that drove me always forward.
Yeah.
And the second aspect you had, what was maybe more scary or not so good, was the same as that was positive, that was also negative, correct? Because to say, to start something from scratch and to get into something what is not established that big, what is not known that big as a brand or whatever, also scared me a little bit, right?
As it should,
And I have to say, though, the positive overshadowed always this fear or scare. I don't even think it's fear or scare. It's more this unknown, correct? Maybe that's the better word. And as you said, I think it has to be there. It has to sit there to some degree too, to keep you also alert and to keep you on the go and to move you forward. But the combination of that was really what I truly enjoyed. And I think going back to what you said, for somebody who listens and says, I'm in this position, ultimately you have to decide and weigh this out where you stand and how you're going to move this forward, correct?
Yeah.
So I think that was my journey there.
Yeah. No, it's great to hear
that decision moment, correct?
Yeah.
I have to say. And I'm very grateful that Sunset gave me that opportunity, right? Because where we've come in those 2 years, correct, is just remarkable in the hotels and resorts.
It's gone by like that as well. But I think what's really helpful there, I think, for people is we all feel kind of fear, apprehension, uncertainty, and then you have imagination, right? And you multiply those things together, and it's, do I imagine everything going wrong? Or do I imagine, what if it goes right? What if this works, right? If it blows up?
And belief is a powerful tool, correct? And as you said, I think subconsciously beliefs drive us, correct?
Yes.
And I think ultimately, no matter what it is, be that your work and or, I don't know, your private life or your sport or your hobby or whatever, you have to believe in succeeding, no?
You have to.
And that I think is ultimately key and drives things.
Yeah. The self-belief is huge because at the individual level and the brand level as well, it was Antonio's level of belief and conviction that rubs off on you. It's almost a bridge loan of confidence. I have utter conviction this will work, and thus you're pulled into my gravitational field and you feel it too. But also at the individual level, if you don't ever believe that you're the man or the woman to do this and can get it over the line, it's never going to. It doesn't matter how many tools you've got around you. You'll always find ways to subconsciously handicap yourself and make sure you never get there.
And that belief, I think, ultimately overcome these fears, correct? If you think about it, Sunset saying, let's set up a hotel company, would be in many ways, what do you mean just set up a hotel company, correct?
Yeah.
But it's the belief, that's what we're going to do next.
We're going to figure it out.
I remember I said with Antonio and said, but where does this come from? And he explained to me, he said, look, I touch already customers in restaurants I run in hotels, beach clubs I run in hotels, in wellness clubs and running hotels. He said, I have already the customer, I owe that customer already very often for 6 or 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So we might as well complete the 24-hour cycle.
Yeah.
And that was for me a real kicker where I said, yes, absolutely, let's go.
Yeah. That's a nice way of thinking about it, actually. Owning, because no brand can own 24 hours of the customer's day, but you can get pretty close if you're Sunset and you've got breakfast, workout, work, social aspect, and sleep as well. It's pretty interesting, actually. If you can own the 24-hour life cycle,
very interesting.
It's very, very
that was
tough.
For me one of the kick points where I went and said,
wow, that's the reframe. I love
said, that is now the vision and the mission we're going to go for.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And in particular, if you can offer exciting things despite a bad. Because I think I mentioned it last time for you. For me, there is something very influential to me. General manager said to me many years ago, he said to me, look, at the end of the day, when you turn off the light, every hotel room is the same. And we're talking, of course, if the linen is the same, all of that, correct, luxury hospitality. And he said it to me in a way to challenge me and said, you have very few hours to really make an impression, to keep somebody loyal, correct? And to go back to this 24-hour cycle, that is really true, correct? So to be able, I can drag somebody in a hotel to sleep there, but everything around it, and that goes back to what I said at the beginning. I think what people nowadays, or the new, or the next generation of travelers looking for, is not just sleep, correct? It's not just check in, check out. No. It's the interaction, it's the culinary, it's the design, it's the wellness, it's the local community, correct? It's the experience, it's the memory I create, correct? Of certain places and that has taken over to some degree brand loyalty, if we like it or not, correct? And I think in particular, certain age groups of travelers, certain nationalities of travelers, they are really shifting down this way, and brand loyalty is becoming more and more an issue. You need to be cool, you need to be hip, you need to be all of that. It's complicated. Huh?
Yeah, but we're looking for connection, right? We're searching for connection.
But ultimately, for me, yes, it's about that connection, that memory, that experience, that I have at a place, correct? And that's people, correct? And that's everything else around it. And I think going back to this, having this all under one roof, be that entertainment, be that design, be that health, be that wellness, be that gaming, be that social, that's very unique. And to be able to pull different drawers open within the Sunset umbrella and pull this out and stick this in a hotel is something I feel very excited about.
It's very cool. Always so happy that we get the chance to connect. I know we're flying all over the place, but I'm very glad we managed to carve out time today. Is there anything that you'd like to leave the audience with? Any final parting words? I love that quote from your mentor, by the way. You know, when you turn off the lights, every single hotel room is the same. Is there anything that you'd like to leave the audience with?
Thank you for your time, Michael, first of all. Always good to see you, likewise. And what do I leave the audience with is to come and experience Matt and Sunset and to continue the journey in hospitality. That's thing, and hopefully we'll meet again.
I hope so.
In a few years. Thank you.
Amazing. Cheers, Philip. Thank you, mate.
Ciao.